Hi, I'm going to talk about contouring today. Now there's lots of contouring products on the market. You can either do it with a cream product or you can do it with a powder product. I'm going to use powders today, but I'll talk about creams as well. Now the whole point of contouring is to push back the areas of your face, maybe underneath your cheekbones, and just give your face more shape, more definition. It's also good at slightly changing the structure of your face within reason. Now the best types of contouring products are ones without shimmer in. So if you're going to be looking at a powder product, which I am today, something like a matte bronzer. This is a Bobbi Brown one. Now the High Street's been very slow to catch up with the matte bronzing trend. I think even sometimes when they say they've got a matte bronzer, it tends to have a little bit of glitter in. They seem to think that we want glittery faces, which we don't. So people like MAC obviously have led the way, and they have a whole selection of fabulous contouring powders. So this means you can choose the one that's right, exactly right for your skin tone, and that's also another major point. But Guerlain are good for matte bronzers. Dior, there's this one, No7 one, which comes out in the summer that has 4 shades of matte bronzer, but that's not out till May. But they're the sort of main matte products you're going to find. Now you don't want to be looking at blushes or anything that's got too much colour in. The sort of colour you're looking at is something that's in the realm of your skin tones. So if you think of your concealing products, your foundation, all of those tones are very skin coloured. That's the sort of thing you're looking for. So today I'm going to use probably something in between these 2 shades, because this is similar to my skin tone, a little bit darker, especially that one. It's just about right for me. If you think about how your skin looks when it's in shadow, you know, you see that sort of slightly darker, you can see it already here because of the light. That's the thing you're trying to mimic, the natural shadow that occurs when your face goes into shade. Rather than, you know, the 2 stripes. We don't want the 2 Snickers bars, you know, the orange or the brown stripes that you often see on people, especially during the day, because in daylight obviously shadows are much softer anyway, so you want to mimic that softness. Now brush wise, for me, because I've got a very thin face, I don't tend to do much contouring. I use contouring to break my face up in a way. I use it sort of halfway down because it sort of helps this section to look a bit smaller. So I'm sort of got the long thin face, so I don't really want to make my face look any thinner. So I'm going to use quite a soft brush. This is a blusher brush by Suqqu, and it's quite dense, but it's also sort of very soft and it's got quite a lot of movement in it. So I'm just going to use the 2 shades. So make sure you use a nice small directional brush. Big fluffy powder brushes don't work for this. Now take most of it off on the back of your hand, and then start with the cheekbones because it's the easiest place to start, and you can sort of feel anyway where those bones finish. And you just want to start very gently shading along little circular movements along that line, and you can always add more, so I tend to start quite light. Look straight ahead as well when you do it, because temptation is to sort of go on the side and do this kind of back and forward thing, which it just never looks right. It always looks like makeup. So lots of circular movements there. Same on the other side. So just coming in under the... This looks great, obviously, with highlighter. I've done a film on highlighter. I'm not going to discuss highlighters today. Now, because this is a powder product, I've powdered my skin first. It's like for like. You can't use a powder product on top of a dewy finish foundation because it won't look natural. It'll stick and it'll get blotchy. So put a light dusting of powder first. If you're using a cream contour, it's the same sort of technique, but you put it straight onto your foundation. Now that's sort of enough. You can always build up as you go along, but that's sort of enough, especially for daytime. Keep it matte, keep it natural, keep it soft. You can also take it up onto your temples. I don't do too much of this because, again, I've got my thin face and I don't want to look like a skeleton, but a little bit is nice because it just finishes off the natural shape there. It doesn't sort of come to an abrupt end. The other thing I do is with a MAC 217 brush, using the same tone that I've used on my cheeks, I contour my eyes and just sort of slightly above the socket line. This makes a huge difference. And just tracing that bit of the eye that you want to recess, you want to push it back. And again, this works brilliantly with highlighter. You can also use it slightly underneath. Keep that really fluid. Now, if you make a mistake and you find that you've gone too far down, or it just looks really sort of severe on the edges, you can just use a bit of cotton wool, dry cotton wool, and sort of buff off those edges. Likewise, you can use a little bit of face powder and just buff out the edges as well, as you want it to sort of not be able to see where it starts and ends. Now at night time you can do a lot more contouring than you can during the day. Something like a MAC 109 brush is good for that because it's much stiffer and denser, so you tend to get a bit more product on. And you can also, for evening, sort of trace along the jawline if you want to get a little bit more definition along there, if you have more of a round face. And again, just feel the bones and just gradually sort of build up. If you want to do on your nose, you can as well, and Naomi Campbell's the best person I've ever seen do this. She's amazing at it. Same colour you've used everywhere else, and again looking straight ahead, and you're just sort of contouring, very, very light touch. And really, this gets a little bit experty, so if you're a beginner with the contouring, just stick to the natural underneath here, slightly on the jawline. But just bear in mind that you can get away with a lot more at night than you can during the day. During the day, keep it natural, keep it soft, make sure the colour's not too jarring, make sure you can't see any edges, and in the evening you can get away with a little bit more, and depending on the shape of your face as well, obviously if you've got quite a wide face you can also get away with a bit more. And as for the glittery colours, I think I would add a little bit if you want to on top of what you've done already with the matte, just to get the shape, but don't sort of go for the very, very glittery textures. And as I've used all matte powder textures today, I'm just going to use a little bit of powder highlighter just to show you how it really sets off that really sets off that contouring that you've done. This is the Mercier Stardust powder, and you could just use it to really counteract what you've done with the shading. So onto the brow bone, around onto the contour there, and it all starts to sort of really give your face a great landscape. It really emphasises the shape. And that is quite a basic guide to powder contouring, but I just suggest you keep it as natural as possible. Thanks for watching.